Not the kind that comes with peace, not the comforting hush of a distant nebula or the gentle void between stars. No, this was hungry silence, a suffocating, predatory void that consumed sound, swallowed light, and left only dread in its wake. The chasm. It wasn't just a black hole, it was worse. The Death Chasm, a rift in space that twisted gravitational laws into nightmares and physics into mockery. Legends said nothing entered and returned. An entire fleet could vanish like a stone tossed into an abyss. No wreckage, no signals, just absence. That's exactly what happened 3 hours ago. The Xalorith Empire, the largest military force in the galaxy, had sent an armada, 600 warships reinforced with quantum shields and dark matter cannons. Enough firepower to annihilate entire star systems. Their mission? Simple: hunt down the last human outpost, erase the remnants of Earth's defiant species. The Empire's high command had laughed. Humans are cockroaches, they said, persistent but fragile. Then the entire fleet vanished. The command relay station, floating 2 parsecs away, had caught the last transmission, static-laced, words choked with panic. No stars, no escape. He's here. Gods. He's... Silence. A council convened immediately, its members huddled around flickering holoscreens. "Impossible," barked Admiral Vorak, scales glistening under harsh lighting. His reptilian eyes narrowed. Nothing escapes the chasm, not even humans. But something did. A proximity alert shrieked across the deck. Technicians scrambled. "Reading movement! Negative mass signature! Impossible readings!" Vorak's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "On screen." And there it was, emerging from the black maw. A single craft, scarred, mangled, defying reason. Not a Xalorith ship, no, it was human. A battered raider-class dropship barely holding itself together, hull glowing with residual radiation and stress fractures spiderwebbing its surface. "Identify the pilot," Vorak demanded. Data streams flooded. One name, just one, Captain Elias Mercer, presumed dead, reported missing after the Titan War. Human kill count, classified. Enemy of the Empire, top priority. Mercer's face flickered on screen, grim, bloodied yet smiling. That human smile, the one that wasn't joy but promise. A promise of what? Retribution. And then he spoke. Voice gravelly, calm, cutting through the tension like a blade. "Tell the Empire, they sent the wrong Armada." The line went dead. Every Xalorith officer felt it then, a pulse of something ancient. Not fear, terror, the kind that coils in the gut when the universe itself seems to tilt. Vorak clenched his fists. "Track him! Now! I want that human's head!" But the deck shuddered. Sirens blared. Systems crashed. Another transmission forced its way through, overriding everything. "You think the chasm took your fleet?" Mercer's voice soaked in menace. "No, I did." Explosions bloomed on the outer hull. Internal security collapsed. The station, a fortress, became a tomb. And far beyond the wreckage, Elias Mercer drifted alone, his ship breaking apart piece by piece. Oxygen low, bones fractured, heart pounding. Yet that smile never left, because the Empire thought they were hunting him. They had no idea he was hunting them. Darkness. It wasn't just outside, swallowing the cosmos, but inside him. Captain Elias Mercer floated in his shattered dropship, systems failing, oxygen levels dipping below survival margins. The cockpit's glass canopy flickered with dying hollow displays, casting fractured light across his blood-smeared face. His breaths came shallow but steady. There was no panic, no regret, just that gnawing, ever-present hum beneath reality, the same hum he had felt inside the chasm. Memories crept in, uninvited. Earth, a scorched ruin. The Empire's declaration, "Humanity dies here." Cities turned to ash, oceans boiled into vapor. Mercer had watched from orbit as the orbital defense ring cracked apart under Xalorith bombardment. Billions lost, Families obliterated, friends gone. His brother Liam, last seen manning the Nova cannons until the line went silent. Mercer's hand tightened into a fist. Focus. A proximity alert sputtered weakly. His ship, a coffin now, drifted on fumes. But that wasn't the plan. It was never the plan. He pulled himself toward the manual override, muscles screaming. Every movement shot pain through his chest, ribs cracked, lungs tasting blood. But failure wasn't an option, not when the Empire thought they'd won. A voice crackled over comms, female, sharp. "Elias, if you're hearing this, for God's sake don't be dead. Extraction's en route. Hold on." Commander Adrian Voss, his former XO, the last piece of home. But extraction wasn't coming fast enough. Mercer punched the emergency beacon, flared it bright enough for every hunter in the sector to see, because hiding was their move, not. As he wanted them to come, Admiral Vorak's claws scraped against the metal console. Blood-red eyes burned holes into the tactical display. One human, just one, and yet 600 warships gone. How? His officers scrambled, tension thick enough to choke. He used the chasm's gravity to slingshot. Impossible calculations. No living pilot could. Telemetry indicates a controlled collapse of our fleet formation. Our ships, they didn't malfunction. They attacked each other. It's psychological warfare, another officer whispered. Human mind games, Vorak snarled. Humans don't possess this kind of power. A pause. No one spoke. Because the truth hung heavy in the air. Maybe he did. We're receiving a new transmission, encrypted origin, the chasm's edge. Vorak leaned in. The display glitched, static resolving into Mercer's face. Bloodied, defiant. Those eyes, dead galaxies reflected within them. And that smile again. Not joy, warning. I told you Mercer's voice was calm, too calm. You sent the wrong Armada. Send more, hell! Send them all! I'm not trapped with you, you're trapped with me! The feed cut, Vorak roared, slamming his fist through the console. Deploy the Black Fang Corps. I want every bounty hunter, assassin, and dread squadron. On him. Pain blurred the edges of his vision, but adrenaline surged hotter. His fingers danced over controls, rewiring, rerouting, improvising. The ship shouldn't be flying. Hell, it wasn't flying. It was dying loudly. But that was enough. He wasn't running. He was bait. And somewhere beyond the sensor horizon, they were coming. Empire destroyers, contract killers, mercenaries salivating. Over the bounty now plastered across every galactic channel, 100 million credits, dead or alive. Mercer chuckled through bloodied lips. They really don't get it, he muttered. I'm counting on that. He keyed the final override. Course set. Not away from the chasm, back into it. Because inside the chasm, he wasn't the only thing waiting. Space burned with pursuit. Mercer's dropship rattled like a dying heartbeat, every bolt holding on by stubbornness alone. Metal groaned, systems spat sparks, warnings screamed in red across flickering holodisplays, but none of it mattered. Not now. Not with 3 Xalorith interceptors closing fast, engines howling like wolves chasing prey. He was outgunned, outmatched, outnumbered. Perfect. Mercer toggled the comms. Gonna have to try harder, he muttered, flipping the ship into a wild spin. Debris peeled off the hull, streaking past like shrapnel through the dark. A plasma bolt seared past, missing him by meters. Too close. His fingers flew over controls, recalibrating thrusters on instinct. Pain lanced through his side, fractured ribs protesting, but adrenaline drowned it out. He'd flown in worse. Hell, he'd survived worse. Target locked, crackled a Xalorith pilot over open comms. Voice smug. Humans finished, Mercer grinned. Say hi to your ancestors, he cut engines. Dead stop. The interceptor, too fast to react, overshot, right into the debris cloud Mercer had just spun out. One piece, a chunk of his own ship's hull, punctured the enemy's cockpit. Boom! Fire bloomed across the void. 2 left. He's "Playing us," snarled another pilot. "Stay sharp, he's not normal." Mercer's lips curled, understatement of the year, but before he could move, a new signal appeared, something bigger. His heart clenched. No, not them, not now. "Black Fang Corps inbound." Voss's voice cut through comm interference, urgency sharp. "Mercer, you're in deep. Pull back. We've got a clean corridor. Get out before—" "No," Mercer said flatly. "This is the plan. Your plan looks like suicide. Then it's working." Silence. Then, "I hate you." Mercer chuckled. "Join the club." Elsewhere, aboard the Black Fang flagship, Obsidian Rain, they called them ghosts. Shadows in the dark. The Black Fang. Corp didn't hunt. They ended. Commander Salem, a sinewy insectoid creature with eyes like pools of ink, watched the feed. Mercer's ship flickered on screen, spiraling toward the chasm's edge. Clever human, using debris, gravitational eddies, turning physics into a weapon. Admirable. Useless. "Orders?" rasped an underling. Salem's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Let him run, let him hope." A pause. "Then extinguish it." Mercer's ship jolted, armor peeled off by another plasma strike. Damn, shields were long gone. Options? Fewer by the second, but that was fine, because just ahead, there it was. The chasm. It wasn't darkness, not exactly. Darkness implies absence. The chasm was presence, a void that looked back. Stars bent around it, light stretching and tearing, space twisted. Sanity wavered. Mercer's pulse quickened. His HUD glitched, numbers warping into symbols he didn't understand. A voice, or was it thought, whispered at the edge of perception. "Turn back, turn back, turn back." He gritted his teeth. Not this time. He angled the ship toward the gravitational pull. Death, inevitability, salvation. Because inside was what the Empire feared. Not the void itself. No. What lived beyond it. And so he dove. The last Xalorith interceptor. Hesitated just for a moment before following. "Brave, stupid, he's insane," the pilot yelped. The ship imploded, crushed by tidal forces. Mercer's cockpit cracked, pressure alarms howling, but he kept going. Lights, shapes, things flickered at the edge of vision. Entities that weren't there but were, the kind of things that made your bones remember nightmares you never had. And then calm, like the eye of a storm. Silence again, hungry, waiting. Salem descended with his strike team, weapons charged, eyes fixed on the flickering beacon inside the chasm. "He thinks this is a sanctuary," Salem hissed. "He doesn't. No, it's a grave, but he was wrong." Mercer knew exactly what it was. The chasm swallowed them whole. Captain Elias Mercer's dropship spiraled into nothingness. Hull fracturing under pressure no human craft was meant to endure. Systems screamed warnings. Hull integrity. 2%. Oxygen depletion imminent. Neural overload detected. Red flashes stung his eyes, but he pushed through, muscles taut, breath shallow and measured. Pain later. Focus now. Outside, reality bent. Stars stretched into smeared ribbons of light, twisting into spirals that looped in on themselves. Up wasn't up. Directions lost meaning. Even thought felt sluggish, like trying to scream underwater. And yet, amid the cosmic chaos, there was something else. A pulse. A deep, resonant beat that matched his own heartbeat. Badum, space shifted, badum, light flickered, badum, and then calm. Silence pressed against his skull, heavy and absolute. For a heartbeat, he wasn't alone. Not just physically. Something, vast and aware, watched. The kind of presence that made God seem small. "Not yet," Mercer whispered under his breath. "Not your turn." He wasn't here for it. He was here for them. Commander Salem's dropship stabilized, advanced gravitic shields humming against the chasm's twisting pull. Around him, dozens of Black Fang operatives deployed in coordinated precision, their matte black armor absorbing. Ambient light, weapons calibrated to subatomic frequencies, designed to kill anything, anywhere. Humans here, growled one operative, scanning. Radiation spikes consistent with his wreck. Fan out, Salem ordered. He's baiting us, don't let him corner you, but the operative hesitated. Sir, are you hearing that? Salem paused. There it was. A sound. No, not sound. Thought. Whispered. Malevolent. Familiar to no one. And yet everyone. Ancient. Syllables crawled into their minds, icy tendrils threading into memories and fears. Turn back. Not yours. Not meant. One soldier stumbled, helmeted head shaking. Make it stop. What the hell is that? It's nothing, Salem barked. Focus. But inside, doubt flickered, because this wasn't just a battlefield. It was alive. Mercer watched them from the wreckage shadows, body battered, bones screaming, but heart steady. Hands gripped his modified rifle, jury-rigged tech fusing Xalorith weaponry with human ingenuity, ugly, unstable, perfect. He needed them to come. Needed them desperate. The chasm wasn't just a place, it was his weapon. Come on, he muttered. One step closer. The first operative breached the debris field, scanning, eyes darting. Too late. Mercer squeezed the trigger. Boom! Plasma bolt straight through the helmet. One down. Chaos erupted. Black Fang soldiers scattered, firing back, blasts lighting up the void like a private apocalypse. But the chasm warped trajectories, shots bent around corners that shouldn't exist. Grenades detonated inside out. Mercer moved like a ghost. Hit, vanish, hit again. Every shot surgical, every movement calculated, pain blurred edges, but focus cut sharper. He's above. No, how did he? Boom, boom, boom. Bodies floated, limbs limp. Blood bloomed like dark flowers in 0G. Salem advanced, unfazed. Mercer popped cover, fired. Salem caught the plasma shot with his gravitic shield, deflecting it harmlessly. Enough games, Salem hissed. You die now. He lunged, fast, inhuman. Mercer barely rolled aside, ribs flaring agony. Salem's blade, crafted from condensed singularity matter, sliced through metal like paper. Mercer gritted his teeth, countered, rifle butt smashing into Salem's jaw. The commander staggered but swung back, catching Mercer across the ribs. Bones cracked, air whooshed from lungs. Pain. Good. Meant he was still alive. Above them, reality cracked. The chasm's surface, if it had one, rippled, shapes moved. Not ships, not creatures. Things that shouldn't be. Wings of light that weren't light. Eyes without faces. A hunger that predated stars. Even Salem paused, gaze drawn upward. What? Mercer used the moment. Knife out, blade plunged into Salem's side. Told you, he rasped. Wrong Armada. Salem roared, hurling Mercer away. The captain slammed into debris, vision swimming, but saw what he needed, his dropship's core reactor. Overloaded, primed, glowing. Salem's eyes widened. No, yeah, Mercer grinned through bloodied teeth. Boom! He hit the detonator. Explosion. Blinding. Deafening. Reality bent backward. Debris atomized. Black Fang operatives vaporized. Salem thrown into darkness, and Mercer gone. Or so it seemed. Mercer gasped for breath, oxygen mask barely functional, vision blurring. He'd made it. Somehow. Barely. The chasm still pulsed around him, whispers gnawing at sanity's edge. Elias... Voss's voice cut through static. Jesus Christ, what did you do? We see nothing. You nuked the whole grid. EMPs across 6 sectors. Had to. Buy time, he rasped. Not done yet. You need extraction, now. You're going to die out there. Mercer's gaze drifted upward, toward something huge. Something awakening. If I die, he breathed. Make sure the Empire dies with me. Mercer floated, weightless, broken, alive, barely. Each breath was a war, each heartbeat a fragile drumbeat against the pull of unconsciousness. Blood pooled in his visor. His arm dislocated, ribs crushed, vision blurry, but the mission not finished. He toggled his comm, fingers trembling, static hissed. Voss, rasped breath. Talk to me. A pause. Then her voice cut through. Elias, God damn it, what are you still doing out there? We've got a window, jump coordinates ready, get out. He closed his eyes. Saw Earth, burning, crumbling, children's laughter replaced with screams. Saw his brother, smiling 1 minute, vapor the next. Memory was cruel. No extraction, Mercer whispered. You know why? Elias, they send fleets. We send a message, one they'll never forget. Silence stretched. Then Voss's voice cracked. Don't make me watch you die again. Not dying. A grim smile. Just finishing the job. Admiral Vorak watched in disbelief. His Armada, gone. Blackfang Corps, silent. Only debris fields and radiation pulses marked what had been a 600-ship fleet. How? One human. One. Pull up all feeds, Vorak roared. What's happening at the chasm? Show me. Hollow displays flickered, static clearing to reveal the chasm. But something was wrong. The chasm wasn't just there, it was changing. Rings of iridescent light expanded outward, energy ripples warping space. Beacons failed, gravity surged. Ships were dragged closer despite full reverse thrust. Panic erupted on comm channels. It's waking up, a tech screeched. That human, he's triggered it. Vorak's blood ran cold. Legends spoke of the chasm not as a place but as a being, a slumbering force older than time. And Mercer had poked it. Get us out of range, Vorak barked. Too late. Mercer clutched the detonator, its linked charges set deep within the void's molecular fissures. Experimental tech, half theory, half madness. The Empire called it impossible. Humanity called it Plan Omega. Elias, Voss pleaded, don't do this. If you detonate, no one knows what happens. Not them, not you. That's the point. You'll be erased. So will they. A beat, his heartbeat, her breath, the universe holding still. Mercer, she whispered. You don't have to be a martyr. He glanced at the swirling vortex before him, colors that defied the spectrum, shapes that whispered in tongues no mind should hear. Not a martyr, he said. Just human. And he pressed the button. Light, if it was light, exploded. Sound, if it was sound, roared. Ships crumpled like paper. Energy waves ripped through fleets, scattering them like leaves in a cosmic storm. Vorak's dreadnought spiraled. Crew flung across decks. Systems fried. Controls dead. The Admiral clung to his console, eyes wide as reality itself cracked, and in the heart of it, Mercer stood defiant, broken bodies silhouetted against the impossible. This was it. But then, something new. The chasm spoke. Not words, concepts, memory, emotion, existence itself. It reached for him. Join, become, end. Mercer's mind splintered. His past, present, future, all at once. His childhood, his first kill, his brother's laugh, his own scream. Stars. Dying stars born, end. His voice, a whisper. Know why? Because we don't end, he breathed. We fight. And with that, rejection. His will flared, small, human, unyielding. The chasm reeled. It could devour fleets, planets, but not choice, not him. The explosion peaked, folding in on itself. A singularity of defiance. Her crew watched in horrified awe. The chasm collapsed inward, like the universe inhaling. And then, nothing. Silence. Stars returned. Space. Calm, but no sign of Mercer, just the void, empty, final. Voss closed her eyes. You stubborn bastard, she whispered. You did it. Drifting metal, corpses frozen in the dark, silence, then movement. A fragment shifted, and there, a hand, gloved, bloodied, alive. Elias Mercer pulled himself free, gasping, lungs burning, but grinning. The Empire crippled. The chasm, closed, humanity, still standing. Told you, he muttered to the void. Send all the armadas you want. We climb out. Silence. Not the oppressive, suffocating void that had haunted the chasm. This was different, calmer, like the universe after holding its breath had finally exhaled. Stars glittered again. Space was space, vast, cold, and familiar. The impossible had passed, and yet its echoes lingered. Captain Elias Mercer drifted among the wreckage, tethered to a debris fragment. His body, ruined, skin burned, bones shattered, consciousness flickering. Every breath felt like inhaling fire, but he was breathing, somehow. He opened his eyes, gaze meeting the endless expanse. The chasm gone. No swirling maw, no malevolent presence, just emptiness. A scar where horror once bloomed. "Guess we can bleed the universe after all," he muttered, coughing blood into his helmet. But pain wasn't the worst part. It was the quiet. No comm chatter, no distant ship engines. Just the hum of his damaged suit systems, holding on to life by a thread, alone. Again. Commander Adrian Voss stood on the bridge, hands gripping the railing, eyes fixed on the view screen. What had once been a battlefield now stretched empty. The Empires Armada obliterated. Debris fields stretched across light years, glimmering like metallic constellations, and in the center, nothing. No signature, no locator beacon, no Mercer. "Scan again," she ordered. "Ma'am, we've run 6 sweeps. No life signs," her comms officer replied gently, her jaw clenched. "No, not after everything. Not him. Not like this." A young ensign approached, hesitant. We should return to base. The Council wants a debrief." "Tell the Council they can wait," Voss snapped. "I'm not leaving him out there." The crew exchanged glances, tired, battered, but no one objected. Mercer wasn't just a captain. He was the reason they were breathing right now. Panic. Chaos consumed the halls, once draped in arrogance. Commanders screamed into dead comms. Banners burned. The Empire's core systems crippled. Their fleets scattered. Supply lines cut. And, worst of all, fear. Fear that the humans, the species they mocked, belittled, had done this. One man had shattered their military backbone. "We should sue for peace," one general muttered. "Peace. With them," another hissed. "They're cockroaches. Cockroaches that just burned our Armada alive." A silence heavier than any explosion. Far above their squabbling, a holographic transmission played across underground networks. "This is Captain Elias Mercer." His battered face spoke from the dark. "You thought you'd erase us. We don't get erased. We fight. We bleed. We crawl out of hell with your nightmares in our teeth. You wanted extinction." His gaze, cold, burning. "We remember." The message ended. And with it the last shreds of imperial bravado. Mercer's vision blurred, consciousness slipping. Maybe this was it. Maybe you don't cheat death twice. He closed his eyes, let the cold seep in. But then, light. A faint blue glow. Headlights. Engines. Rumbling through the dark. "Mercer, hang on, you bastard!" Voss's voice crackled in. He managed to chuckle. "Took you long enough." Hands grabbed him. Medical scanners whirred. Oxygen flooded his lungs, burned but beautiful. "You stubborn son of a—" Voss began. "Missed. You too," he slurred, slipping into unconsciousness. He woke to the sterile hum of med-tech. Bandages wrapped half his body, his arm reconstructed. Breathing? Easier. Pain. Ever-present, but familiar. Voss sat beside him, sipping synthetic. "Coffee. Figured you'd finally joined the land of the living." "Define living," he rasped. "Empires retreating across 5 sectors. Colonies rejoining the Alliance. You made a goddamn legend of yourself." He stared at the ceiling. A legend. Felt hollow. Too many ghosts in his rear view. "Council wants you to speak at the Victory Summit," she added. "Tell them I'm busy," he grunted. She smirked. "I knew you'd say that." Silence stretched, a comfortable one. "So, what now?" Mercer asked. Voss sighed. "Rebuild, bury the dead, wait for whatever cosmic horror wakes up next." Mercer chuckled softly. Yeah, universe always throws another. Punch! His gaze drifted to the viewport, Earth visible in the distance, scarred, healing, still standing. Somewhere far beyond human reach, something watched. The chasm, gone. But its echo lingered, and deep in that darkness, a whisper remained. We are not done. Time moved differently after war. The battlefield's roar had long since quieted, but in its absence came a different kind of weight. A heavy, lingering silence that only survivors understood. For the galaxy, the Death Chasm incident was already becoming a story, a myth retold across systems with varying degrees of truth. To some it was a cautionary tale, to others a symbol of defiance. But to those who'd been there, who'd felt the chasm's breath, it was something else. It was real. The platform floated above the blue and green orb, Earth's atmosphere shimmering like a protective blanket. Hundreds gathered, soldiers, civilians, diplomats, all facing the monument, a black obsidian slab etched with names. So many names. Too many. Captain Elias Mercer stood at the back, arms crossed, bandages peeking from under his jacket. His injuries had healed, mostly. Scars remained. Some you could see, some you couldn't. Voss approached, 2 coffees in hand. Didn't think you'd show. Didn't think I would either, Mercer muttered, accepting the drink. Silence stretched between them as the names glistened under artificial starlight. They want you to speak, Voss added. Pass. You ended a galactic empire. Team effort. Bullshit. Mercer smirked but didn't argue. His gaze drifted to a small, unassuming plaque beside the main monument, in memory of those lost beyond the stars. No names there, just acknowledgement. For those swallowed whole, never found. Like Liam, Voss nudged him gently. He'd be proud. Mercer didn't answer. Words weren't enough. Not for that. Elsewhere, deep space transmission relay. Galactic news networks buzzed with debate. Unprecedented power vacuum in the Xalorith sectors. Resistance forces stabilize liberated planets, and rumors persist of survivors near the chasm's coordinates, though officially declared inaccessible. But beyond the politics and rebuilding efforts, another conversation brewed, quieter, more ominous. If humans can do that, what else are they capable of? They call it resilience. I call it dangerous. Perhaps the chasm didn't close. Perhaps it's waiting. The galaxy watched humanity, not with pity or disdain, but with something new, respect and fear. He sat alone, old dog tags dangling from his fingers. Liam's, a hollow recording, blinked to life on his table, his brother's voice echoing out, Elias, if you're hearing this, you outlived me, you stubborn asshole. Guess I owe you a drink. Just don't carry the weight of ghosts, yeah? We all knew the risks. Just live. That's how you pay for it. Mercer closed his eyes. Live. Easy to say. Harder to do. His comms device buzzed. Classified channel. Voss. Got something for you, she said. Another mission? No. A lead. On him. Wreckage from the Titan line's been found. Coordinates are messy, but if you're interested, he didn't hesitate. Send them, because some ghosts don't let go and some debts aren't finished. Stars stretched endlessly, peaceful, deceptive, but in the dark, something moved. Not ships, not fleets, something older, watching, listening. The chasm hadn't just been a place, it had been a door, and doors have 2 sides, a flicker, a pulse, not done. He climbed out, a voice echoed in the void, ancient and amused. But what climbs out can climb back in. Stars dimmed, the galaxy turned, time stretched onward, and the echoes remained. Time moved. On planets rebuilt, empires crumbled. Resistance banners flew over once conquered worlds, and the name Elias Mercer became something whispered in bars, sung in resistance hymns, and written into history books. The man who climbed out of the Death Chasm. But history is often neat, clean, wrapped in endings that make sense. The universe, though, it doesn't end. It waits. Children played in the parks of New Avalon, laughter echoing through streets rebuilt from rubble. Holograms flickered with news feeds. A decade since the Chasm incident, peace accords strengthened across former Imperial sectors. Captain Mercer's final resting place remains undisclosed per his request. A young girl, paused by a memorial statue, a towering figure carved in dark stone, face half hidden under a helmet. Inscribed beneath, Elias Mercer, defender, survivor, human. We fall, we bleed, we climb out. The girl's mother tugged her hand. Come on, sweetheart. But he's a hero, right? He was complicated. The girl nodded, not understanding, but knowing somehow. Heroes weren't always simple. Mercenaries whispered over drinks. Traders exchanged rumors like currency. I'm telling you, he's not dead. The chasm doesn't let people go. If he's out there, he ain't human no more. If that's true, better hope he stays gone. A hooded figure at the bar sipped a drink, half smiling. A scar peeked from beneath the hood. No one noticed. Him leave, stars glittered in cold silence. Debris floated from ships too old for any known fleet, twisted wrecks covered in moss-like growth that thrived in the vacuum. And then, a pulse, soft, faint, familiar. Coordinates blinked into life on an abandoned relay station. Someone or something was transmitting from beyond the edges of known space. A voice came through, garbled, broken, but unmistakable. If you're hearing this, stay away, not what we thought. It wakes. The transmission cut out. Single star flickered, then went out, not because of distance, not because of time, because something closed over it. And in that darkness, eyes opened.